Brock Wright was all wrong for the New York Jets this afternoon at MetLife Stadium. Welcome in to Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen alongside Quincy Enunwa. The Jets had this one in their grasp, Quincy. A 17-13 lead at the 2-minute warning. A 4th-and-1 play on the backside of that 2-minute warning. And Jared Goff hits a wide-open Brock Wright for 51 yards, and the Lions win this game 20-17. The Jets desperately tried to tie this one up, but Greg Zuerlein, Legatron, wide left on a 58-yard field goal attempt. The Jets are now 7-7.
Yeah, and let's talk about this, right? I think the game today really showed why the Lions are who they are. They had great offensive play calling. That 4th down play call, it was a great play call. Like, I can't even say anything about the Jets defense on that. I would have loved for them to have manned up and done the right thing there, but it was an excellent play call, perfect timing. They did what they needed to do to win that game. The Jets just needed to then recover. They had every opportunity to recover from that play and did not do that.
Yeah, listen, this one was a tough game on so many different levels because defensively, you played winning football again. Yes, you gave up 20 points. That's what it says on the box score. But the Lions scored on special teams, a punt return for a touchdown, and a Zach Wilson interception was taken back to the 13-yard line, and the defense held right there, forcing a field goal. So there's 10 points right there?
Yeah. And then they did so many great things on this drive. I mean, I think the Jets defense, bend but don't break, they continue to show that every week. You know, I'm going to say this every week because that just seems to be their motto. For you to let an offense drive all the way down 72 yards, down to the 1-yard line, and get a stop, I mean, that's what you want to see from your Jets defense, right? You want to see that every time. You want to know that those guys have your back, can make sure that there's no points put on the board. They only gave up 1 touchdown all game. That's exactly what you need from your defense. The offense just could not get it going. And there were so many opportunities for them to really make this game, pull away from this game, and they couldn't do it.
Well, let's get to the takeaway right now. The Jets are 7-7 overall. There's scoreboard watching, no doubt about that. Yeah. You got the Tennessee Titans battling the LA Chargers at the moment. The New England Patriots are losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. But Robert Saleh said after this game, we know the position we're in. We're going to have to win out, and the Jets might have to win out and obviously get some help along the way.
Yeah, and this is the worst position to be in. Like there was at one point where the Jets felt like they could win the game, win these games, and clinch a playoff berth without needing help from anybody else. Now you're in a position where you're hoping that teams lose, hoping that all these different factors happen. The Jets were in this position, what was it, 2009 or something like that, where they got lucky and some teams lost and they made it to the playoffs. I know in 2015 we would have loved to be in this position, honestly, because when we lost that game, it would have been perfect for a team to have lost and put us into position and make it to the playoffs.
You know what's so disappointing here? No moral victories in the National Football League. We're not even talking about that today. But now that's 3 consecutive weeks where the Jets have been in games and lost by 1 possession. You start in Minnesota where you have that 3rd and goal at the 1, the 4th and goal at the 1. You can't convert. You go 1-6 in the red zone. You lose 27-22. Then last week in Buffalo, you go down 20-12, and it looked like you had an opportunity to get right back in the game. You turn it over deep inside Buffalo territory when it looked like you were mounting that 4th quarter charge. And then today against the Lions, you're at home, you're in control of the game, you have that lead 17-13, but that 4th quarter magic that had been with the Jets early in the season, it's kind of evaporated.
Yeah, it almost feels like they're exhausted from fighting in the 4th quarter for so long, right? Like, I was praising them from the beginning. From the preseason, they had been fighting 4th quarter through all the way mid-season into the late season. And now at this point, there's no more magic left, right? They can't do it. They need to just start starting fast. And I don't know if you can really recover now. There's no way for you to change your whole identity and start the games faster. At this point now, they have to figure out a way to regain some energy and fight through the 4th quarter.
Okay, so much to get to here on Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Zach Wilson today passed for 317 yards, had the 2 touchdowns to C.J. Uzomah. Let's hear from him right now with the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen.
All right, Zach, how disappointing is this loss for this team, the way it kind of came apart at the end, considering it seemed like how hard this group fought all afternoon?
Yeah, man, the guys, were fighting all day. Disappointing to come up with a loss there. I thought our defense played awesome. Gave us opportunities as an offense, and we got to score more points, and that starts with me. I got to put drives together. Got to get more completions, left some out there.
I know there's no moral victories in this league, and as much as you maybe sputtered during the game, to put together the drive to take the lead, to make some of those throws you made on the last possession, well behind the chains to even get a field goal opportunity. What do you take out of that personally after not having played for a month?
Well, I think it just goes back to, all 11 of us on offense are just battling, man. Like, we're not going to quit. My mindset all day is good or bad, it's move on, next play. And if I'm always out there trying to just do my best, then, you can live with that at the end of the day. So the guys, they kept fighting all the way to the end, and I'm always going to do the same for them.
So you feel like this is a game you can build off of?
Yeah, I think every single game is a game you can build off of. There's so many plays I'm going to look at in film and wish I had back, and plays I wish I had better. And so, you got to take it as a learning experience, as hard as it is, and, I just got to work on getting better.
Well, a few days to rebound. I mean, is there almost a help that you guys are going to be able to get back on the field as quickly as you are this weekend, ready for Thursday night?
We'll be ready to go, man. We got the right group.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
You're watching Jets Overtime presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa here inside the studio. The Jets fall to 7-7 on the year with a heartbreaking loss to the Detroit Lions, 20-17 at MetLife Stadium. Quincy, the turning point again was Jared Goff to Brock Wright. You said this was a perfect play call for the Lions after the 2-minute warning. Tell me what you see here.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to think 4th and inches on that play-action pass that it's going to be a dive up the middle. So when you fake the dive up the middle, then you're going to think, okay, it's probably a play-action pass with somebody coming behind me. For them to have snuck the tight end out, that's a play that you saw the Rams do maybe a few years ago. They really threw that into the lexicon of the NFL. I feel like that wasn't something that guys were doing. That wasn't a play that people were doing as much. As soon as they started doing it, people started to add on, change it up, and now that's a play that you see on almost every team. So for them to have ran that at that time, it was a perfect play call, perfect timing. The Jets should have been more prepared, but that's just one of those things that, sometimes it's chess, and, they just outplayed them there.
So do they go against tendencies there? Because the Jets are in man coverage. That C.J. Mosley said after the game, and of course the Jets aren't going to point fingers in the locker room and say, hey, here's a guy who blew the coverage. But obviously somebody got free. Yeah,
and I think it was one of those plays that guys were assuming, right? Because that's what they want you to do there. Assume that this is what we're going to do, the play action. And, I think maybe 2 guys off the edge on the right side, somebody wants to point fingers at CJ. I don't know if that would have been his guy. It probably would have been somebody else on that play. Somebody, maybe safety, outside linebacker. Somebody on that side should have taken him across. But, again, it was such a perfectly planned play. For him to have blocked, he held the block for a great amount of time. Once that guy blocks on that play, whoever's covering him doesn't have enough time to read that it's a block and it's a fake. So, it was a perfectly timed play.
I'll tell you what, defensively, again, let's get back to what they did today. The Lions, who came into this game number 1 in the National Football League in red zone efficiency, they were 0 of 3, and that started with that 4th down stop by Quincy Williams where he made it like Superman. Sheds a block and stands up Jamal Williams at the goal line.
Yeah, actually, Quincy Williams had a couple good plays on that drive. I mean, he had a couple good plays in the game. He's a guy that, you need him. He's a spark plug. He's a guy that you're going to go in and he's going to bring energy to the team. I love watching him play. But the defense did great. I would have loved to see maybe a turnover, maybe a sack of Jared Goff. I think although they were able to stall the Detroit Lions offense, they just weren't able to do what needed to be done in order for the Jets to win this game.
Yeah, and for the Jets offensively today, explosive plays, especially in the pass game. But as Quincy talked about before, that run game that we had seen in previous weeks just was not there consistently. And so it was a live or die with the big play in the pass game today, and the Jets came up with 17 points. Again, that is now 3 consecutive weeks where you have totaled 4 touchdowns. You get in the end zone twice today on passes from Zach Wilson to C.J. Uzomah. Let's go back to the stadium right now. Here's Ethan Greenberg with our buddy Anthony Becht.
Thanks, EA. Anthony. Let's just start where this game ended. The Jets put themselves in a position to try and tie the game with a long field goal. But what did you make about the way the Jets made their way down the field and potentially not using a timeout when they could have?
Yeah, I thought they were in a good situation. They got the pass completion to Garrett Wilson. Fell down. It was a little kind of crazy at that moment. I thought maybe right there would have been a good time with 3 timeouts left. You slap a timeout. You got 2 more. Get yourself in a really good play. Just get yourself a first down. You want to have anything crazy, a sack happen, and just so happens now the next couple plays fall out to be an incompletion. You get the sack, and now you're rushing. So you're trying to find something. You get a big play at the end. You're lucky to have a second left, and you get that kick. And it, again, just in that moment, but. I felt like in that situation, I think, yeah. I mean, why? Zach's just coming back. The offense is kind of frantic. Like, try to get something safe so you know what you have. You have the time. It's set there. But, again, you don't know what it's going to be. You feel like you're going to be in that moment. You're going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's rushed. So, again, probably want that one back in that situation. But, again, the game dictated a lot of those circumstances throughout. But an opportunity may be missed.
And it does feel like that. The Jets had good spurts of offense. I mean, we talk about the end of the drive, 3rd and 19 conversion, 3rd and 18 conversion, just to give themselves a chance. And that was kind of the theme of the game. What do you feel like was missing outside of the chunk plays that maybe could have helped the Jets put up points?
Well, we talked in the pregame about, a couple plays that Zach's going to have to make, and he made a couple. CJ had a nice day today, had 2 touchdowns. We talked about the tight ends. That nice throwback throw was really good. Don't make the crucial mistakes. He did have the interception. Defense did a good job, though. Held them to a field goal. It wasn't crazy dramatic. Special teams obviously hurt you with the punt before on the touchdown. But I thought Zach, all in all, did okay today. You probably missed a couple passes out there that he wanted back. I saw some frustration. You see Garrett Wilson, obviously, in these moments in the game. He wants the football in his hands, but guys stepped up. They were able to find a nice little area where he could work with the different levels of the receivers. They moved them around the pocket. The one thing he didn't have today, obviously, was a complimentary run game. I thought that was kind of important. It was there in sporadic moments, but just throughout the game to have that pressure to take off him and not have to make those plays with his arm the entire game. That would have been a big factor if you could have had more of that. But all in all, I just felt like, he made some solid plays with his arms today and looked like they had a good plan for him.
So then, looking ahead now, the Jets obviously have a short week with the status of Mike White's health being in question. If it is Zach Wilson again, what are things that you think he can build on today's performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars team that just beat the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I'll tell you what a game that's going to be. I mean, I think for him, he's just got to keep playing and getting reps and doing his thing. Again, it's just not making the crucial mistakes. But, it's funny because we talk about that. Every quarterback in the league has the throw here, has the throw there. That's really not what you want. But, again, just seeing the field and just making sure he's hitting all his options. The one thing he does have is he has options on this offense. A lot of different players now can make plays for them. You'd like to have that support in the run game, but it is going to be – this is a team that was down, if I recall the Jags-Dallas game. They were down quite a bit throughout the whole game. This offense can crank it out. So you're going to have to match it blow for this team. We'll see what the weather looks like, but that'll be a contributing factor as well. But, again, this team still has big goals in front of them. It may not be playoffs, it may be, but they can finish above 500, which would be great. A couple more wins, get themselves in a good position. This has been a really good season so far for them. I know everybody wants the playoffs. It still could be there, but at the end of the day, you just want to see a rise, right? You want to see players getting better so you can push and make that run as we move into the season.
The Jets right now 7-7. CJ Uzomah told me it's a must-win each and every game from here on out for the Jets. EA, back to you.
Wayne Corbett's rookie reception mark for the New York Jets had lasted 27 years. In 1995, Corbett had 66 receptions. Today, Garrett Wilson, a week after setting the rookie yardage mark for the Jets, comes up and beats Wayne Corbett's rookie reception mark. 4 receptions, 98 yards in all for the electrifying rookie out of Ohio State. Let's get into our film breakdown. We're powered by Microsoft Surface. How about CJ Uzomah? He had some power in him today, Quincy. 2 touchdown catches, including this one, his first of the 2022 season, off a great play call from Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, so I want to highlight 2 things. I'm very happy that Mike LaFleur gave C.J. Uzomah a chance to make a play here, and also he also did a great job of moving Zach Wilson out of the pocket. That is one thing that I really want them to continue to do as the season progresses if they keep him in the game. So here's a great play right here. You have C.J. Uzomah. He has this route here. And this is a play that you're not going to give to everybody. So he must have shown them that he has this in his tool bag because it's not in everybody's bag. Then you're going to have backside the over route. What they want to do here is to have everybody thinking that the play is going left. Then you're going to have C.J. Uzomah faking and going right. So you have Zach Wilson faking the run, coming around. Now look, everybody thinks the play is going this way. Our eyes are all looking left, left, left. Everybody's going this way, thinking that's where the play is going. Then you have C.J. Uzomah like, psych, I'm going this way. So it's a great play, great play call, great timing for it as well, and you get a touchdown out of it. So everybody gets rewarded by it.
So you said he puts the safety on ice skates here. Can we see that?
Exactly. So safety thinks he's going right. C.J. Uzomah says, I'm going left. And we're going for the touchdown.
And that was his first score of the day. So Uzomah responsible for the Jets' touchdowns today, but a guy who continues to be responsible for just tremendous plays in the explosive department. That's Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. And so with this play, the Jets actually ran it earlier in the season, and I thought that it wasn't a design play, but it actually is. And the reason why I see that now is because on this play, you'll see Zach Wilson stops and pops. Pops right here, and Garrett Wilson is still running his route. That tells me that he knows that he's going to continue to go. The other time they did it, Zach Wilson was going all the way on the run, and he ended up on the sideline. On this play now, he stops and pops. He has pressure in his face that makes him stop, but the play is still continuing. And look at Garrett Wilson. This guy just continues to do amazing things. Great play. Guy is draped all over him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He comes down with the play, and that's why he's wide receiver 1. So celebrate.
How much do you appreciate him playing through the flag there? Because he drew the penalty, but he still comes down with the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's a veteran play. I think we're going to continue to talk about this all year long. This guy is not a rookie. He doesn't play like a rookie. He came out of Ohio State ready to play, and he's just showing every week that he's just a #1 receiver in this league.
Yeah, a hell of a weekend for C.J. Uzomah. He is a co-producer of a Broadway play. And then today, his 2 touchdowns. After the game, Ethan Greenberg caught up with the Jets' veteran tight end.
Here with Jets tight end C.J. Uzomah. C.J., just from a player's perspective, how difficult is taking a loss like this, the way that it happened?
Yeah, pretty much. It sucks. It's gonna sting for the night. There's 2 things. One, we get to have a short week so we can get the taste out quick. But the other thing is we have to make sure that we get it out quick. So we're gonna have to watch film and kind of move on from this and do so in a pretty swift manner because we have a Thursday night game coming up. That's do or die. We have to win out, and we know that. And we're gonna have to correct our mistakes and come out of this with a win.
Feels like the offense had spurts of big plays for sure, but what do you think was the missing piece just series in and series out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think I think when you look at the tape, when we look at the tape, there'll be one person doing something wrong when we faltered, right? So it's not a one-man thing. It's I know I need to play better, and the guys feel the same way. I think just that was the feel on the sideline when we went like a 3 and out, or when we didn't convert, or things of that nature. So those are just the things that we can't have happen. We have to go out there and play damn near perfect in order for us to come away with a win.
You're watching Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa here in the studio. The Jets fall to 7-7 on the year with a 20-17 loss to the Detroit Lions. Anthony Becht is at the stadium, so he won't be participating in report cards, but we still have the impeccably dressed Professor Quincy. So you're up first.
All right, let's do it. So if I could get my grades up, and I want to start with special teams, man. Special teams, I gave them a D. I don't know if I've given a D all year, and I'm going to give them a D this year. Coach Boyer is my guy. I played for him. He's one of the best in the league, but this was a bad showing by the special teams. You got the they could have redeemed themselves in the end with that kick, and it was wide left. Like, there wasn't even an opportunity for them to make it. You start the game off with a punt that turns into a punt return touchdown. It's just bad from them all around. I don't even need to say too much about it. I gave them a D. On defense, I'm going to go with defense. I gave them a C+. There was a lot of positives. I think, again, this was another game that, you had guys doing so many great things. DJ Reed right here, this was a great play by him. He actually had another one on a deep pass. We see the fourth down play, Quincy Williams coming in. There were so many great things that happened in this game, but when it counted the most, they didn't show up. That fourth down play, 4th and 1, you have the tight end, Brock Wright, leaking out for a touchdown. They didn't even tackle him at least. The least they could have done was stop him from getting to the end zone, and it didn't happen. Those guys, all respect to everything they do, but that was just one of those things I had to give them a C+. Then I'm going to go offense, C-. They started the game off so strong. The offense started off so strong. You see this touchdown here. I love this touchdown. I talked about it. I'm glad that they had this play call drawn up for that specific moment. Zach Wilson had a lot of great plays in the first half. Then the second half started, and it all went downhill. On top of all of that, you can't have 50 yards in a rushing game. That's not what you need. This is a defense that is not performing well. They did great. They did exactly what they were supposed to do against their passing defense, but the rushing defense did not show up today. The rushing offense, did not show up today. The line wasn't making it happen. The play calling wasn't working. So, I had to give the offense the grade that I gave them.
All right, somebody got to give Quincy an apple because the teacher is not in a good mood today.
Not at all.
Listen, and neither is Jets Nation. Of course, the Jets started 5-2. Now they've suddenly lost 5 out of 7. They are 7-7. Hopefully, they're going to get a little bit of help from the Las Vegas Raiders today, who have a lead over the New England Patriots. And also, we're watching that game closely with the LA Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. Go Derrick Henry and the Titans. As far as my report card is concerned, let's go from worst as far as the toughest grade, and then we'll work our way up. Special teams got to give a D because anytime you give up a punt return for a touchdown, it's just not going to work in the National Football League. It doesn't matter what happens elsewhere. Greg Zuerlein's been great for this team throughout the year, but you can't depend on any field goal kicker hitting a 58-yarder in late December to send you into overtime. He's been so good with those long field goals that you have expected him to make that kick. But again, the defense gave up an 8-minute drive to start the game, but they tightened up inside the red zone. They forced Detroit to turn it over on downs. Great play by Quincy Williams. Very next play, Khalif Raymond, touchdown. So that really took the wind out of the sails. So D for special teams. Then for offense, I'm going, I believe I have a C. Bottom line is, made a lot of explosive plays in the passing game. Very encouraged by that. Jeff Smith did step up when Denzel Mims went out with a head injury. Remember, this team entered this ball game without Corey Davis in the lineup. There was Garrett Wilson setting the rookie reception mark today, and a great play call here by Mike LaFleur on the CJ Uzomah first touchdown. Uzomah, in fact, got his first 2 touchdowns in green and white today. But as Quincy mentioned, listen, 17 points in the National Football League, not going to get it done. And that's what the Jets had, and they did not have a consistent run game. So they were playing one-handed. Finally, defense, B-, because you gave up the huge play at the end, the 51-yard touchdown from Jared Goff to Brock Wright. They beat man coverage. It's a 4th and 1. But with that being said, bottom line is the defense gave up 10 points today. They gave up 10 points today. The Lions scored on a punt return, and they got a field goal after they returned an interception to your 13-yard line. That's good enough to win, okay? They did not slam the door down at the end of this ball game, but they played winning football. So by their standards, and again, they were missing one of the best players in the National Football League. No Quinn Williams in the lineup. And oh, by the way, your starting safety, LaMarcus Joyner, he was added to the injury report on Saturday. He didn't start. He started Will Parks at safety today. So You didn't have consistent pressure on the quarterback. You were missing a dominant interior presence in Quinton Williams. It showed, bottom line. But I can't get too disappointed with this effort defensively. It was good enough, bottom line. With that being said, let's look at the scoring summary today. There is the opening touchdown. Raymond gets the Lions on the board. The Jets matched it with the explosive play to C.J. Uzama. From there, it was a battle of field goals. The Jets took the lead late on Uzama's second touchdown reception of the day, but Wright had the final say in this game. One of today's standouts was DJ Reed. Guy should be going to the Pro Bowl, and he should get All-Pro consideration along with his running mate, Sauce Gardner. 3 PDs in all today. Our Caroline Hendershot talked to him after the game.
Here with cornerback DJ Reed. DJ, what was Coach Salah's message to the team after today's loss?
You know, it was devastating to lose like that in that fashion. We just have to, play complementary football. It's just what he talked about. He said, it's going to hurt watching this tape because there were so many chances, and simply they out-executed us when it was, time to execute. So, give credit to them. We're going to watch the film. We're going to get better from it. We have a quick turnaround, so we got to make sure we take care of our bodies and, move on from this game.
What happened on that last Lions touchdown? What did you see on that play?
Yeah, man, it was a great play call from their OC, their head coach, or whoever calls their plays. It's 4th and 1, so, obviously we have to play very aggressive on 4th and 1 to get off the field and win the game for our team. So that's what we did. They did a good job. They had a guy block, which, that's going to trigger a run. If that's your man, if someone blocks, you're going to think it's a run play. He held on the block for a long time, and he just kind of squared out, and everybody else was in man, so we were guarding our guys, and they ran deeper routes on purpose. So once he caught it, everybody was on the other side of the field, and, he had a big open lane, and, it was a great play call from them. Obviously, we wish we could have it back, but it is what it is.
As a veteran and a leader on this team, what are you telling some of the younger guys, a lot of these younger guys that make up your team, going forward as you head into Jacksonville on Thursday night?
Just got to watch the film. You got to learn to see what you did wrong, learn from your mistakes, and also whatever you did good too. Obviously, continue to do that, but you can't let this dwell into playing next week. I think that's the worst thing you could do is feel sorry for yourself or feel bad. Let's just play it out. Take this next game. Just focus on this next game and just see where we go from there.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, DJ.
No problem.
You are watching Jets Overtime presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa here inside the studio. Dejected DJ Reed played very well again today. On one of his better plays, again, dude sometimes might get beat, but his recovery, he never gives up on a play. And case in point was that PD on the long throw from Goff to Jameson Williams, the burner from Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, both of these DBs, both him and Sauce, do a great job of finishing on the plays. That's what I love to see about them. They never give up. They're rarely out of position, but when they are out of position, they're going to make sure that they fight to get in the right spot to make sure that that play is not successful.
All right, Q, let's look at the updated AFC standings. You can't look behind it right now. Yes, the Jets. A few weeks ago, we're sitting there in position. Now it is a 3-game losing streak. Minnesota, Buffalo, and today, the Detroit Lions. So the Jets, all of a sudden, 7-7. Here's your scoreboard updates, ladies and gentlemen. You have the Las Vegas Raiders right now on top of the New England Patriots, 17-3. If that score holds up, that's good news for the Jets. The Chargers locked in a 7-7 tie with the Tennessee Titans. Both those teams 7-6. But the Jets certainly rooting for the Titans today because, yes, they're probably going to win the AFC South. Even though you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars who come to town Thursday night, they're all of a sudden 6-8.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that this last stretch would be the most challenging stretch for the Jets? But it definitely is going to be. You got to understand that December football is always going to be hard. These are the times where the season is ending, teams are playing for their playoff berths. teams are playing to go home and be happy that they at least won some games. So both those things coming into this, it's going to be a challenging next few games.
Yeah, as we're going to look at the upcoming schedule for the Jets, it's such a fascinating point because remember, everybody was looking at the schedule before the year and said, hey, just make hay, be around 500 by the time of your bye. Well, the Jets actually were 6-3 at the time of their bye because remember, they beat the Buffalo Bills after losing a home game to New England Patriots. They come back after the bye and the New England game happened. You lose 10-3, then you make a quarterback switch. Mike White comes in, you beat the Bears, but now it's a 3 consecutive games here where you've been on the wrong side of the decision, and you finish up with Jacksonville at home on a short week. Trevor Lawrence coming to MetLife Stadium, and then that's followed up with a Seattle team that's going to be fighting for its playoff lives, and Miami. They might be in the playoffs by that time. They're 8-6. So this is an interesting finish because Jacksonville all of a sudden has playoff aspirations. And again, the storyline going into this one is not only where the Jaguars and the Jets fit in the AFC, but also who's going to be the Jets quarterback Thursday night. Robert Saleh didn't want to get too far into that. Yeah. Obviously, Mike White not cleared for contact by Jets doctors today, so Zach Wilson in the lineup. And then you have the storyline of Trevor Lawrence, who went number 1 in 2021, and Zach Wilson, who went number 2.
Yeah, this season it's interesting, right? Because if you look at the way it worked out. They were supposed to play the Bears with Justin Fields. Now they're going to play the Jags with this guy. So it's unfortunate for Zach Wilson that he hasn't been able to figure it out. And I don't know how they're going to go ahead with this Thursday game. You know, I think Zach did some great things today. You know, he just missed some passes that should have been a lot easier. I think that's the kind of contrast between him and Mike White. You know, Zach has the ability to kind of make some off-schedule plays, make some movement plays, and Mike White doesn't. But Mike White is going to give you those short passes, those easy passes. He's going to be able to drive down the field with those passes that kind of hurt the defense more than the chunk plays that you can't always get.
Yeah, and your point is always you're looking at the run game, and also the pass game can't be boom or bust, and that's what it feels like it is right now.
Exactly, right? Because like I was saying, with Mike White, you're going to get more of those shorter passes. With Zach, it seems to be more of chunk plays, and if you are doing chunk plays, you don't have a run game, it's just not going to work out. You know, I think that's why he was winning. He was 5-2. You were getting great chunk plays with him, and then you were also getting a good run game going. And if you can't get those two in combination, that's the perfect marriage right there. If you're not able to do that, then it's hard to get wins. So people want to put this loss on Zach. I'm sure they do, but it's not all him. He could have played better, but he also needs help.
All right, let's end here today. The end of the game situation. Detroit takes the lead 20-17. Let's go over the play-by-play here. First play on the ensuing possession for the Jets at the 25-yard line, Zach Wilson sacked for a 9-yard loss. Yeah. That snap occurs at 1:49. The next snap occurs at 1:28. Incomplete pass to Braxton Berrios. Then on 3rd and 19, Zach Wilson hits Garrett Wilson for 22 yards. That snap is at 1:22. The very next snap doesn't come until 58 seconds on the clock. Incompletion to Berrios. That's followed by a pass to Garrett Wilson for 10 yards. That snap occurred at 53 seconds. The next snap after that happens at 31 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there was multiple times there where they could have called a timeout. Even if you do get out of bounds, at least give yourself time to regroup. Like, I'm not saying waste a timeout, but sometimes during that section, especially with a young quarterback who might not have the time management that you want him to have, you can call a timeout and give yourself an opportunity to really have an in-depth conversation about what's going to happen next. They didn't give themselves that opportunity. They started calling timeouts after the sack, and at that sack, if you look at the clock, it was winding down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. At that point, the defense has their ears pinned. They're ready to rush because they know you can't do anything else. It's either timeout or you're snapping the ball. So I'm ready to go. So they just kind of put themselves in a bad position on that drive.
Yeah, listen, the Lions had the answers today. They are one of the hottest teams in the National Football League. They have won 6 out of 7 games. Again, the back-breaking moment was Jared Goff throwing a touchdown pass to Brock Wright for 51 yards on the 4th and 1 after the 2-minute warning. The Jets suddenly 7-7. They got to lick their wounds in a hurry because Thursday night's going to be here in no time.
Exactly. So, they got to figure it out. You got 3 games left. What are you going to do? You either got to buck up or, go home.
With that, we're going home. Have a great night, everybody.